I'm Sarah. Welcome to the Daily English Show. Today's guest is John from New Zealand. I met John in Sapporo. He gave a presentation at the JALT conference. It was the last presentation I saw actually, and it was about giving presentations. He was introducing these new books because he works for this publisher, Cambridge University Press, who also happened to publish one of my favourite books, which I've talked about many times before, English Grammar in Use. Anyway, I'd watched many presentations that weekend, and several of them I was somewhat unimpressed with for various reasons. So I really enjoyed John's presentation because we talked about what makes a good and bad presentation, and it was really interesting. And these books look like they'd be useful if you're going to teach giving presentations in your class, which is definitely a useful thing to learn, I think. There are some interesting topics in here, like how to fold a t-shirt. You've probably seen videos on YouTube like this, and John impressed everyone with his t-shirt folding presentation. The first thing I asked John was, how long have you been in Japan?
I've been in Japan for 3.5 years. I came over in March 2005 with my wife, who's Japanese, and our 2 daughters. They were both born in New Zealand.
Kia ora, in Stick News today, an artist is planning to create a massive portrait of Barack Obama in Spain.
The artist is a 42-year-old man who was born in Cuba, grew up in the US, and now lives in Spain. He plans to create the gigantic portrait from gravel and sand. Obama's face will be almost 140 by 83 meters. The artist said the size of the work was intrinsic to its value. Obama's personality, his youth, personal history, and message of a new politics has fused with the historical moment to create someone larger than life, he says. The huge size also alludes to the global impact of this election. The artist will use 500 tons of material and plans to finish the work by the 3rd of November.
And that was Stick News for Monday, the 27th of October. Kia ora. Why did you come to this conference? How did the presentation go? Being a bit of a presentation expert, do you watch other presentations critically? I read in the program you won a speech contest. What was your speech about? What advice do you have for people who are studying English?
I work for Cambridge University Press, and I'm an ELT sales representative, English language teaching materials sales representative, and I've come to have a display to show teachers our materials and also to give a presentation on our new course called Present Yourself. I think it went quite well. I had a couple of mini presentations within the presentation that seemed to be getting good interest from my audience, and it seemed to go quite well. Yes, I am quite critical of presentations, the presentations that I go to watch. I don't mean to be. I'm there obviously to get information like everybody else, but if there are some things that you might consider bad presentation practice or bad presenting skills, I do notice it. Probably in the age of PowerPoint, it is far too much text in a slide. And the presenter is actually reading the slide, perhaps reading quotes from academics or from a book, and jumping through slides. Oh, we don't need that one. Oh, jump over this one. We'll skip over that. It's very distracting if people have taken the time to come and listen to what you've got to say, and it seems as though it's just an ad hoc thing that you haven't catered to this particular audience with. No, I don't come from a teaching background. I used to work for a trade promotion agency, a government trade promotion agency, and so I don't come from a teaching background, but I started learning Japanese when I was at high school, and I've always had a very strong interest in language acquisition, and I think being now a salesman for English textbooks, my experience as a Japanese language learner and all of the things that I did to learn Japanese put me in good stead to be able to relate to teachers and relate to the issues their students have. Yes, that's quite a few years ago now. 1988 Auckland Regional Speech Competition. I won that one. The speech was about interesting dialects in Japanese and how I found it difficult to understand some peculiar dialects in Japanese. Yeah. One of the key things is to get as much exposure to the language as you possibly can, and of course that's very difficult when you are learning the language from your own culture. So it's the situation of all of the Japanese students learning English. Their only real exposure that they have maybe in their class with their teacher and during the activities that they're doing in class. But if they're really serious about wanting to learn the language, they need to try and make friends with native speakers, to travel as much as possible and expose themselves to the language as much as possible. There's no shortcuts in learning language, and it's a lifelong process, I think.
What does John do? A. He's a sales rep. B. He's a teacher. C. He's a presenter. A. Why did he go to the conference? A. To sell t-shirts. B. To promote books. C. To study English. B. Which presentation pet peeve did he mention? A. Too much text in a slide. B. Typos in the slides. C. Speaking in a monotone. A. What did John say he studied at high school? A. International trade. B. Japanese. C. English language teaching. B. John said that learning a language is A. A lively process. B. A life-enhancing process. C. A lifelong process. C.
And that was the Daily English Show. See you tomorrow. Bye.
Ouvrez votre esprit, écoutez les sons artificiels. Est-ce que c'est seulement une rêve? Une rêve dans une autre rêve. Fermez les yeux. Regardez les ciels.
Voilà.